I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how things used to be. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love falls inside of me. Yeah, yeah. Section Chocolate! What's going on? I had to represent for Randy Watson he played Joe the policeman from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. So y'all give it up for Randy Watson. Happy New Year, everybody. I wanted to hit y'all real quick. I got a tad bit of a cold, but hey, I felt the need and the desire to be with y'all on today. So here I is. And I wanted to talk to you guys about something very important. So I'm going to try to jump right in. And if you got any questions or anything afterwards, we can definitely address those because I love doing this. And this is what's going on. So today what we're talking about is to chamber or not to chamber. And that's basically saying people have talked about this for many years. Should I carry it around chambered? Should I carry it around unchambered? The safety aspects and all that stuff. I'm going to go over that today. And I'm going to give my opinion and my view on it. And you guys let me know what y'all think. All right? So, first and foremost, let me start from the beginning for those of you who may not know what that actually means. So, this is my firearm. This is a Beretta PX4 Storm. Yes, it is very sexy. Yes, indeed. I got the chrome, the polished frame with the polished barrel. And basically what a chambered round means is just basically that this gun has a round in the chamber. So if you look there, and for those of you who are saying, you're not practicing proper firearm safety, well, I had to show and demonstrate, so that's why I did not clear this one, but I just wanted to basically open up the slide and show you what that is. So that's basically saying there's a round chambered, and this gun will fire if the safety is off, which you clearly see the safety is on, and this gun will fire when I pull the trigger. All right. And when you're talking about the whole safety aspect, which is like the number one thing that people talk about, well, I want to have the gun safe. I want to have the gun safe, so I don't want the gun to accidentally go off and all those good things. Here's my thing on that. First and foremost, is it safer to carry one way or the other? I think not. I think the safest way to carry your gun is in a holster. Plain and simple. So if you got a gun, whether there's a bullet in the chamber, whether there's not one in the chamber, properly carrying that gun safe would be to have it in a holster. And having it in a holster means that the trigger cannot be pulled. So there are definitely plenty of holsters. Actually, you know what? Let me show you mine. There are definitely plenty of holsters that you can carry, but any holster should definitely do one thing and one thing only, aside from holding it to your body, is basically covering the trigger guard. So here's my trigger. This is my Glock 17. Yes, it is sexy as well. That's it in the holster. This gun also has a round in the chamber, but this trigger cannot be pulled. It can't be bumped. It can't be knocked. Nothing can happen. This gun will not fire as long as there is no trigger pull, okay? So when you talk about the safety features of a Glock or just most firearms in general, there are several in place already. But carrying a gun like this with a round in the chamber, this gun is just as safe as if a gun didn't have a round in the chamber. So that whole thing of saying it's safer to carry it this way or the other, I don't buy it and I don't subscribe to that. All right. So the reason why I say you should keep a round in the chamber is because of the advantages of having a round in the chamber. And with the advantages and what we're talking about, the main thing that we're talking about is you being in a situation to where you can survive a gunfight. If in the event that it should ever happen where you are in a situation where you need to use your firearm, you need to be in a situation to where you're going to have the most things in place to help you win. All right. So one of the other things is just saying, basically, like I said, carrying it, the safety aspect of it. If your gun is in a holster, it's safe. Plain and simple. So when you're talking about there are different types of holsters, and I'm gonna do a holster show too, actually. But there are different types of holsters, and there are different type of things that you can have to keep your gun safe, and different ways you can wear your gun. But keeping it in a holster is the way it should be carried at all times. All right. One of the things too that people talk about is the safety aspect at home. Here's my thing with that. So I keep my firearms for the most part in very safe and secure places, with the exception of my everyday carry. And what I do with that is I carry my gun on me like a piece of clothing. Okay? So what do you mean by that? Well, I mean like when I get up in the morning, do I have my gun on? Nope. I'm usually in a wife beater and some drawers. Okay? Once I get ready, shower, shave, brush my teeth, comb my hair, all that good stuff. When I'm putting on my clothes, I put on my socks, put on my drawers, put on my shirt, put on my pants. Once I do that, I then put on my firearm. I put my holster on and I put my firearm in my holster. Even when I carry my Beretta, when I put it in the holster, I carry it with the safety off. Reason being is that if I'm out and I have to pull my firearm, I don't want to have to go through this step. Yeah, some people will say, oh, well, that's a small step and it can, that's something, if you train yourself to do it, you do it. Yes, you are correct. You can train yourself to do it, but it's still time. And time is of the essence when you're in a gunfight, okay? Seconds, milliseconds, it matters, all right? So when I take my gun, if this gun is sitting in my safe and I pull it out and I'm getting ready to wear it before I put it in the holster, safety is off, all right? And I'm going to explain as to why I do that. So, when you're talking about just the overall safety aspect, when you're talking about keeping it holstered, when you're talking about wearing it, you wear your firearm like you carry your license, like you carry your wallet, like you carry your credit card. You got it on your person, and when you need to present it and you need to use it, it's there. You don't have to go through any extra steps, okay? So one of the biggest things about carrying it is that when you carry in with a round in the chamber, it gives you an advantage when it comes to time because you don't have to chamber around. Chambering around can be easy for most, but there are some people who struggle with that. I think I saw somebody even in the comments say they have trouble pulling that slide back. Yeah, e.g. So here's one of the things when you're talking about your hand strength and you're talking about your gun and being able to rack that slide, you have to do a couple of things. Number one, you can train with your firearm and work that slide. There are some slides that are just tight. And the slide on my Glock is a lot tighter than the slide on my Beretta. So when you go to the gun shop, that's one of the things that I always tell people when they ask me, oh, what type of gun should I get? Especially for females. Especially for females. When they say, well, what kind of gun should I get? I want something that's easy. I want something that's small. One of the first things you want to do is when you get a semi-automatic is that you want to be able to rack that slide. And I mean rack that slide with ease. Being able to pull that slide back no matter what. Because racking the slide, it's not just about loading your firearm or unloading your firearm. It's about being able to clear a jam. It's about being able to say, hey, I'm having a malfunction. I need to tap and rack. If you need to do that, pulling that slide back is key as far as getting that gun back into action. If you have a firearm right now today where you cannot work the slide, then you need to be practicing working that slide. My wife is the same way. With her XD, she has trouble, and she has trouble with that gross motor skill. One of the things you'll see me do is you'll see me rack a slide like this. Now, you'll watch TV, and you'll see Crockett and Tubbs. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say Crockett and Tubbs. Yeah. You watch these TV shows and these movies, you'll see people racking the slide like this. You'll see people pulling the slide back like that. They do the pinch. The reason why you don't do the pinch, and this is a lesson that I had to learn, and I'm so glad that I trained myself to not do this anymore. The pinch is what we call a fine motor skill. That means that you are using these two fingers or maybe these three fingers and you are grabbing that slide and you're pulling it back. That works great when you're at home and you're practicing on your own, and when you're with your friends or you're at the gun range, it works great. However, when you are in a stressful situation, when you are under duress, when you are under pressure, when the shit has hit the fan, and now you have to work that slide, this motion right here, this very simple fine motor skill becomes very hard to do. And that's because of a thing called OODA loop. You can look that up. OODA loop is a whole nother, you can do a video on OODA loop all by itself. But you look that up, and basically what it is just the process that the brain does when you're going through that stressful situation in gunfights, to where you have to look and you lose certain senses, and certain senses like your vision. You go from having this broad range, your normal vision, to what you call tunnel vision. As that pressure and the adrenaline is pumping, you lose fine motor skills. So then you are reduced to gross motor skills, which is why I always train people to grab your slide from the top and pull that slide back that way. That way, this is something that you can grab, whether you're looking at it, whether you're down on the ground, whether you don't have that firearm right in front of you. You can grab and you can tap and rack, and you can work that slide that way very easily, because it's a gross motor skill. You're using your whole hand to work the slide as opposed to pinching. All right. So if you pinch, if you may look cool, and it may be like in the movies where you say, yeah, let's go get these suckers. You may like all of that, but when it comes to a serious gunfight, you want to be able to say this is what you do, because this is a gross motor skill. Grabbing that slide from the top with these 4 fingers and that thumb on the other side there, if you see that, that's a gross motor skill that you can do under pressure. That's a gross motor skill that you can do if you get shot. That is a gross motor skill that you can do when the pressure is on and you don't know what's going on and there's a lot of shooting and bullets are flying. You can do this, okay? As opposed to trying to do this, as opposed to trying to pull it to the side. You don't want to get into that habit, all right? So that's the other thing. The loss of fine motor skills and the tunnel vision. One of the biggest things, and I guess this is my main point, is this is time. Time is of the essence, like I said before. You don't want to have to pull your firearm in a situation where you need to shoot, and you got to stop and do this to rack a round in the chamber before you fire. You don't want to have to do that. Why? Because if somebody else is already doing this and they don't have to do that, they have an advantage. Now you're talking about, and some people are saying, well, you know, they still have to place the shot and all that. You don't want anybody to ever be in a position to place a shot. You don't want that to happen. So if you're in a situation where you need to draw your firearm and you have to do this, that can also be a warning sign to somebody who don't know if you're pulling out your firearm. Let's say you're not in the direct line of fire and you're trying to save somebody. You're trying to protect somebody, and that person who has that weapon doesn't see you. Well, now because you have to do that, you are making noise. You are bringing attention to yourself. So that can be a huge problem for you. So you don't want to have to do that. So always say, hey, it's a lot easier to just have to pull your firearm that's already off safety, right? And at best, you can cock your hammer, which you even don't have to do. If your firearm is already safe, if it's already off safety, and you don't want to have to do that, then you can just say, hey, it's already off safety. I just got a longer pull, and I know that, right? Because you're going to be pulling the trigger anyway. So you want to make sure that you have every second to your advantage as opposed to your disadvantage. Don't carry your firearm with a bullet unchambered, because you never know what situation you may be in. As far as the safety aspect, which is the number one reason why people don't carry it that way, keep your gun in a holster and you keep it safe when you're at home. One of the things I always tell people when they ask me about this, I keep my gun on me from the time I get dressed until the time I get undressed. So even if I'm spending a day at home, I got my firearm on me. Well, why would you do that? Because you never know. There's a video I saw a few years ago, and it just changed my life just watching it. It was so terrible. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but it was about a woman, a stay-at-home mom who was at home with her 2 kids. She had like maybe a 3-year-old and like an infant. A dude just kicks in the door, right? Kicks in the door and just literally just like comes to her and just like boom, boom, is just beating her, beating her. And it was just so shocking to say, like, man, most people, even if she was at home and she did have a firearm, most people don't carry their firearms. And that's actually one of the things that I learned from, what is my man's name? James Yeager. I learned from James Yeager about that. And he just said, you never know what's going to happen in your home. People can come in and kick your door in anytime, at any point. So you don't want to be in a position to where you need it and you don't have it. I always say that it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And yes, when you're at home, people say I go and put my gun in a safe and I unload it and keep it in the safe. And if I need to get up at night, I'll take that shit. Keep your firearm on you just like your clothes until you are ready to go to bed. And then you have your gun that you have in your bedroom. I personally have a gun in my bedroom that I keep that's within hands reach so I can get to it if I need to go to work. If I hear that bump in the night, I'm ready. But when I'm in the house, cutting the grass, walking the dog, going to the trash, whatever the case, if I got on clothes, I got my gun. Just because you never ever know. So one of the things you don't want to do is have to say, oh, I gotta go get my gun. Oh, I forgot I left my gun on the couch. Oh, I left my gun in the safe. Oh, I left my gun on the chair. You don't want to do that. When you get up and you get dressed, put your firearm on. When you're getting ready to go to bed, that's when it comes off. That's when you can put your safety back on. I unholster this guy, then I can put my safety on, then I can put it up where I keep it. All right. So keep those things in mind. You always want to be in a position where you can access that firearm. All right. Cool. So anybody got any questions? I see Glocks don't have safeties. I wish they did. E.g., let me tell you something. I was born and raised on Berettas. Born and raised. I'm a Beretta fan. When I got into law enforcement, the issued weapon was a Glock 22 to be exact, or Glock 26. You had to carry one or the other. So when I was definitely against Glocks because of that. I was under the belief that Glocks weren't safe. The only safety that they have is the one that's actually here on the trigger. If you can see that, they say that's the only trigger there, and the baby can pull that, and the gun can go off. I was a firm believer in that. And I had a guy, shout out to my man Corey Hunt, and shout out to my man, shout out to my man Corey Hunt and God dog it, Stewart, my man Stewart. They educated me on Glocks. I was ignorant about Glocks. And one of the things that I was ignorant about was the safety features. Any gun, if you're not talking about a slide safety, is just as unsafe as you would call a Glock. Any Glock, any gun that you have that does not have a slide safety like this, where you can, hammer safety, what they call it, where you can drop that hammer down and you can protect that gun from hitting the fire pin. Yep, absolutely. It's the same level of protection. A Glock has 4 safeties, internal safeties on it. 4. So the thing that makes a gun go bang is the hammer or the firing pin striking the bullet, right? Glock got 4 of those things in place to keep that gun from going off. You can literally take a Glock and drop it off of a building. You can throw it down the street and it will not fire. It won't fire until you put your finger on that trigger and you pull the trigger back. That's when a Glock will fire. Trust and believe, I was not a fan of Glocks, and now I am a huge fan of Glocks. I love the Glock. I love the way it shoots. It is a very reliable firearm. Very reliable. I will stake my life on it. I carry my Glock now more than I carry my Beretta. And you talking about somebody who was born and raised on it. So I definitely understood what you're saying. A lot of people say that, but trust and believe it, Glock is just as safe as any other firearm. And when it comes to just the overall quality, when it comes to the overall just reliability of it, you can't beat it. I cannot tell you, oh, this gun ain't gonna run like a Glocks run, and they run very well. Very well. So, any other questions? Wear it around kids. I saw that. Yes, you wear your gun around kids. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you educate your kids about firearms and firearm safety. No, should you have your 3-year-old outside shooting? That's all debatable. I don't think so. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to really try to put a gun into my child's hands till she's a little bit older. She's only 5 now, but I just don't believe in doing that. I'm going to wait until she can understand the severity of life and death with a gun, that it takes a life. When she can understand that, then I believe that that's when she's ready. However, explaining to a kid what a gun is and not to touch it and why they should never touch it, I think you should do that when you're teaching them just about everything else. Just like you teach a kid about a stove, you teach a kid about a pot, or you teach a kid about, sharp objects, knives, and all those type of things. It's the same thing. It is a tool, right? So that's what you do. When you wear it around your kids, wear it safely. When you got an inside the waistband holster or you got an outside the waistband holster and that gun is secured, then that's what you do. And I'm definitely gonna do that holster show. But wearing your gun safely is exactly what your kids should see. So yes, you can wear it around your kids. You should wear it around your kids so that they look at it and they are just as comfortable with you wearing it as you are wearing it. So it's not a thing of saying, hey, this is, something that I shouldn't wear. I shouldn't have around, or a gun is bad. No, a kid should understand what it is and what it's for. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So definitely you should wear that around your kids. And explain to them what gun safety is. Just like John said, gun safety is between your ears. It's up here. It is. It really is. It's all about up here and what you do and how you train yourself to handle your firearm. A lot of people don't practice gun safety because a lot of people don't know gun safety. And a lot of people don't make gun safety a habit. Just like how you pull a knife out of a drawer, you use it, clean it, and you put it back. Same thing with a gun. You take your gun, you wear it. If you need to use it, you use it, clean it, and you put it back. It's the same concept. It's just that there are a few more things that you have to do with it. You don't just leave it around. You don't leave it hanging around because anybody can pick it up, and somebody who doesn't know firearm safety can hurt themselves. So that's exactly why you want to make sure that you practice firearm safety first and foremost, and not just practice it, but teach it. Because when you're teaching it, that's how people know exactly what they need to do with it and how to handle and treat it. Cool? Good. Well, I wanted to make this video real quick. Any more questions in the comment section? Don't think so. Let me just double check. Thank you. Great info. I'm glad it helped. Wear it around kids. Yep. Don't see anything else. All right. Anybody got any other questions? I don't think so. But if you do, email me and I will address it. You can hit me up at ugoa1791@gmail.com and I will gladly answer any other questions. If we have any other topics that you want to shoot to me, I can address those as well. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Send this out to your people. And remember, it's better to need it and not have it than to have it. I'm sorry. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I got a cold, y'all. Forgive me. But thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to what we're going to be doing in 2019 with the channel. And just creating more content. I'm definitely committed to doing that more so this year than ever before. So thank you guys. I love you guys. Peace. I am Brian Redman. This is the United Guns of America, and I'm out. If I can stop the brawl.